Hello there, you're in the Beat Sessions. I'm your host, Mitchell Weary. Let's talk about Regina Spektor and her new record, Home, Before and After. That was released on June 24th. This is her 8th studio album, and it's her follow-up to 2016's Remember Us to Life. And it's so very nice to have Regina back, especially after 6 years. I know that I missed her. She's outstanding, especially her voice. It is just so solid. But her music, I would argue, is equally as engaging. All of her compositions, so rich in character. Every single one is a unique journey from start to finish. I throw her stuff on, and it's no wonder it's so satisfying and so rewarding to listen to her, especially when you get new material. And I want to make an argument. I think that this album comes at a very important time for her. If you watch the channel, you know that I'm not a believer in forcing art in any way, shape, or form. I don't think it is a good strategy to pump and dump albums. You know, if you're feeling it, if the creative juices are flowing and you're writing good music, then so be it. But I think a big thing that's going on right now is that you have so many phenomenal progressive female singer-songwriters out there. Some have been around for decades. Some have just been doing it for a few years. But I think of names like Tori Amos. She comes to mind first because you can definitely feel that influence there. But Mary J. Blige, Bjork. I think of someone like Alicia Keys, Fiona Apple, MIA, Santa Gold, Lana Del Rey, St. Vincent. You could probably sit here and name drop forever. The landscape is amazing. And all of these artists that I've mentioned have all cultivated their own unique sound. I mean, that's the best part about it. So I love that. I love that all of these artists are writing music that's so uniquely their own, but you can definitely also feel them driving each other and influencing each other. And Regina, there's a lot of the artists that I've mentioned have put out records since she put out Remember Us to Life back in 2016. So I think this record is important to get back into the conversation, to have some material out there that's competing. And I know that's a bad way maybe of looking at it, but I just think that with as competitive as the music landscape is, with all the music that's out there, when you're, trying to sell concert tickets, when you're trying to fill up whatever venues you're going into, because you have to. This is a business that you don't succeed if you're only filling spots up 60 or 70%. So I think that I think this record, aside from being really good, comes at a great time for her. I think fans are really going to enjoy the classic pop feel. And I think that a lot of new people are going to be drawn to that contemporary feel as well. What I love about this record is that it genuinely, I just mentioned all these artists, but this record explores New York pop music from now all the way back to 1940. And genuinely, if you really want me to dial it in, this thing feels like Ella Fitzgerald meets Carole King, if you really want me to describe it. And that's what I'm loving about this record. It's so much fun. Whimsical is a word that I use, or I see a lot of people use that word to describe her music. It's appropriate, and I like it. There's some instances though where I see people use it and it almost feels derogatory though, and I don't like that. There definitely is an element of her music. There's some people that I've read refer to her music as childish, and that element, that aspect of it, and I completely disagree with it. I think it's a beautiful aesthetic that she's working with in her music, and I appreciate other artists that do it. What it really reminds me of being a lit guy is a guy like Gabriel Garcia Marquez, and you read a book like 100 Years of Solitude, and pretty much all of his literature and all of his poetry has this real, it's magic realism is what they like to call it. Surrealism, I mean, whatever term you want to use. There's subtle differences there, but magic realism, you'll be in this moment where everything is, very grounded in reality, but all of a sudden things start to happen. And it's almost like, my goodness, am I reading this? Am I experiencing this? And I love that. And I feel that in Regina's music. And so I think that whimsical component of it, I don't think it's childish. And I think it really lends itself to a very magical dynamic in her music, and I'm loving that about this record as well. So let's jump into this track listing. Kicks off with Becoming All Alone. I love this track, and this song has been around for a bit. There's quite a few people out here that heard this live for the first time, and she does a very nice minimal version of it. There's some people that are hating on this newer version with the full instrumentation, but I love it, and I think that both versions existing, this song is very dynamic. And I think having, kind of a stripped down, maybe darker minimal version contrasted with this lighter, brighter, it's a great dynamic that exists there between both versions of this song. And I really like this version as well. It starts off with this light reverberating piano. You get this light synth that eases in along with some orchestration. And then I really just like, there's this great percussion. It's a simple shaker that really just kind of brings the rest of this thing in together. And it's this great pop pop rock song. I love this thing. I love the movement of the bass. So solid. Great track to kick this thing off with. Up the Mountain is your second song. This ominous piano and spoken word intro to kick this thing off, and then the beat comes in. This thing sounds very contemporary, pretty electronic. I love the undulating bass that is moving in this song, and there's great strings in this track. Great breakdown as well. This is one of my favorite songs on this record. One Man's Prayer is your third track. Get this gentle rolling snare and this bouncing bass that brings in the song. Nice vocal to open up as well, and then all that stuff right into the verse, and you get this breezy pop driven chorus as well. I really like the way that the opening of this track really builds into the verses, and then that chorus, so you get that contrast there that's very unique. Raindrops is your fourth song. You're going to definitely get a little BJ Thomas shout out in that. I love that about this song. But I love what she's doing with the keys on this track. It really sounds like she's playing these keys to sound like Raindrop. It's beautiful instrumentation. It's so unique. It's so well done. I love the light, gorgeous melody in this track. It really is very cool. It's probably, gosh, I'm loving all these tracks. I got to get into a couple other ones that I like a little more, but I'd say it's probably my fourth favorite track on the record if you're going to make me rate them. Sugar Man. Oh man, I love this song. It kicks off with a minimal piano vocal intro, and then it evolves into this mellow, funky groove. This thing is so catchy, and lyrically, like I love what she does lyrically. I love the stories that she tells. I love her anecdotes. I love all the stuff that she does. In this song, she is just bringing pure thunder about the sugar daddy, and in the role of the woman as well. She's very honest about both sides, very blunt in this song, but I really dig her honesty lyrically, and I just love how catchy this song is. It is so infectious. I think you'll really dig it. What Might Have Been is your sixth track. This is a piano driven classic pop feel, swells, and then just kind of comes to a calm, and I just love the movement of that song. Space Time Fairy Tale is your seventh song. This thing is ambitious. This thing is about 9 minutes long. It's going to keep that classic pop feel, very cinematic though, and there's moments of this song where I'm like it's kind of missing a little bit. This song is far from perfect, but again, I'm really loving her ambition here. I'm loving, just the progressive alternative feel of this track, the experimentation. This really is a cool song overall. Your eighth song, Coin, Space-Time Fairy Tale is so big, it's almost like, how do you follow? I love the way that Coin follows. You get this dark piano and lyric component, and I love what this thing rocks out, and it really has a feeling of early Coldplay. Like when Coldplay was a rock band, and when they were good. Loveology is your ninth track, great penultimate track. This is one of those songs that it just delivers the goods, all the great things that you hear in her sound, the chamber pop element, the classic pop feel, the different alternative sounds that we're hearing from artists like St. Vincent, like Lana Del Rey, like Tori Amos. Really a very cool track that leads into your final song, Through a Door, and this is going to have a great cinematic feel. This is a nice closer. I like the fairy tale feel in the piano and the vocal, minimal orchestration. Nicely done on this track. This record is a lot of fun. I'm not going to go out of my way and say that it's her best record to date, but like I said, I think that it's arguably her most important record just based on when it came out. I think that, her career and where she was, and with all these other records, there's been a lot of good music that has come out recently, and she deserves to be in that conversation. She is one of those people that is a top tier artist, and I'm so pleased with this record, and I think everybody else is going to as well. So we're going to vinyl please this thing. I'm going to say that I wasn't able to locate any wax yet on this thing. Haven't heard an announcement. I'm assuming there's probably production delays, so I'll keep you updated on this. If there's any news and information, I will try to post that for you, but we will in our hearts vinyl please this thing. Hope you find this review helpful. Hope you enjoy listening to this record as well. Please like this video, share it, subscribe to the channel, do all the things to help me blow this project up in 2022. And stay tuned throughout the week for more album reviews. We will see you next time on the Beat Sessions.